Greetings, all. Welcome to this edition of the Sunday Power Chat. My name is Takia Geddes, and usually I'm accompanied by Nancy Lewis Hill. Together, we like to come here on Sundays and share with you experiences from our weeks that help bring to light, from a spiritual perspective, ways to navigate that bring us more peace, more love, and more joy and more access to our joy. And as the creator of the Kinetic Life Revolution, where we help heart-centered seekers and leaders to really align with their essential nature and release the weight of their past, this is one of the joys of my life, is to help people through life coaching and also lifestyle strategies to really create a life that they love. So this topic tonight is especially near and dear to my heart, where we're answering the question, how do I align, with my magic? How do I align with my essential nature? How do I align with that flow of energy that allows me to feel like I am in flow with my life and with source, if that is how you address your higher power, or it could be God, or it could just be energy, whatever it is that you believe is the guiding force, the life force that allows us to continue to have access to our creativity and our ability to create our lives rather than just be at the whim of circumstance, right? And so I'll give you my top 10. I just made a list of top 10, and I'll share with you what they are. And I'll begin with the ones that are the easiest for us to access, right? The things that really give us the sense of agency, because they are more easily accessible in our everyday lives. And the first is drinking enough water. It might seem, like we're talking just health, trying to be healthy, but the thing is, water is essential to every body function. It also affects our brain function, it affects our eyesight, it affects our mood, our hormones. So drinking enough water cannot be understated. When we're thirsty, we're already dehydrated. And so I think probably the only animal that resists the doing things that are healthy for us. So I know water doesn't taste like soda, and there's a reason for that. And for a lot of us, it's the reason that we don't drink enough, because we have an expectation of the hydrating fluids to taste like something. And if your palate is clean and clear and not sensitized or desensitized by the overload of sugar and salt, then you actually can taste water, and you can taste the nuances in different waters from different sources. And I'm very sensitive to water taste and require it to be clean. I am even a bit of I call myself a Brita snob. Like, to me, I still taste the chlorine in the water that comes out of a Brita filter. And so I've tried and I've tested many. And so I'm not going to give you my choice. I think you need to make your own choice. Do what you need to do in order to have a palate that's clean and clear, and then make a decision for yourself about where you get your water. However, get your water in, and so for many people, this is a challenge. Most people that I know don't drink enough water. And so what I'd say, like, where to begin with that, and is to simply just do a little more today than you did yesterday. So if you find yourself drinking one glass of water a day and getting to the end of the day, realizing that that's all you've had, and you're, not sure what to do, I would say tomorrow, shoot for 2. Like, make it your business to get 2 in. And hydrating in the morning when you first awaken is really important, because it can kind of be the indicator of how your eating day will go. Because most of the time when you awaken and don't hydrate, then you are feeding your thirst with food. The people mistake the kind of sensory information that we have for around thirst for hunger often, when they're not quite in touch, and then they end up not getting enough water and eating foods that kind of take them down paths that they didn't want to go, because they were still hungry even after their bellies and their bodies were satiated with the nutrients, if they were, or they were satisfied with the amount of food at the time, but then they were hungry again soon after because they were really thirsty. And it's difficult to then hydrate when your belly is already full. And then it can lead to a whole other slew of issues, or, gastric issues. So what I recommend is that you start where you are with what you have, and just do a little bit better tomorrow than you did today. And that works for most people. It just gets doing a little more progression. People say, that, progression is perfection. But it really is true. The body really will adapt, and we are adaptable beings, and we do so more easily if we move into something slowly. So there it is. All right, next one. Okay, so let me check these off, because I'm probably not going to do them in order. So the next one is enough sleep. So I know that I am just a better human when I'm well rested. It's easier to be my best human when I'm well rested. So, for me, I know that I need at least 7 hours. And some days I need more because of the amount of working out that I did that day, or the stress, in my life, or the time of day that I got up that day, just the amount of energy expenditure, it varies. But the minimum amount that I know that I need to feel my best is 7 hours. And so for you, it might be 8, it might be 9. For most people, it's usually not less than 7. That because you can function doesn't mean that you're functioning well, or that you're at your best. So I would say make a distinction between you functioning at your optimal capacity versus being able to get through the day and get things done. And so rest. And so I think where people really struggle with rest is, even if they are, one is that they don't have a definitive, end to their workday if they work from home, or even if they have kids, they don't have a definitive shut off time where they stop parenting and take care of themselves and go to bed, or they don't have really good boundaries in some area of their life that pushes into their rest time. And all of that to say that they may not also have rituals that support a restful sleep. So develop a ritual, and you might start building one tonight. Perhaps that moving into rest for you, is going to start with perhaps shutting off the television, or shutting the phone off, or the computer, because you have a tendency to continue checking emails or looking at notifications, and that blue light really messes with your ability to assimilate from your work day or your moving chaotic day into a more restful flow. And so creating boundaries around your time and space, moving into the rest time, whether it's with yourself or the people in your home, or the people in your life. Maybe if you don't want to extend it to them, maybe set a notification on your phone to put it on Do Not Disturb. But begin to create those boundaries so that you can be good to yourself in a way that allows you to be your best for yourself and the world. Okay, sleep. Can't underestimate or understate the importance of it. And as far as it relates to wellness, you know, your body functions less than optimally at doing every function, burning body fat, you know, exciting nerve cells, you know, brain function, memory, all of the things, right, get affected by both dehydration and sleep. So these are why, that is why they are my number 1 and 2 so far. And the next is that we have access to control and dominion and choice, which is freedom, is our food, right? And so the first 2, 1 and 2, affect our food choices often, right? We tend to make more poor food choices when we don't get enough rest also. And so what I would say is, you know, if the first 2 are in place, it's going to make the third one more accessible and easier to implement. So I just did a podcast today on with my Move Well podcast with Anthony Saw, and we talked a bit about, you know, what it is, you know, to kind of navigate these, you know, the choice of food and selection of food that we make, and I think it really, we have to have a mindset and a perspective on eating. We have to develop a philosophy, you know. And so for me, I am at my best when I'm doing things in flow, when I'm moving intuitively. That is what suits me the best, and in every area of my life. And there is some substructure that I put into place, and I flow around within, around that, around within, around that. And that for me is what works. It might be different for you. So if, for example, you know, I don't like to eat early in the morning. I'm thirsty when I awaken. I like to hydrate completely and then give that liquid that I take in time to be absorbed. And then I want to wait until I feel hungry. And you know, depending on your journey, that signal may or may not be strong enough for you to recognize. And so perhaps it's a thing where you just really need to get quiet and listen more deeply, because it doesn't alert you. Perhaps when you get into your flow of work, you don't think about food, kind of out of sight, out of mind, whatever it is for you that leads you either to not eat or to eat out of habit. So some people eat breakfast just because it's time, and they've always eaten at that time, or they've always been told or believed that you have to have breakfast. And so, you know, I'm a believer in really that, you know, listening to our bodies. Our bodies are very intelligent, and they give us all the information we need on how to work with it, and to treat it, to have it work optimally in our lives for us in this journey. And so eating only when you're hungry, and if you have some anomalies that, you know, that cause you not to be hungry, or to be hungry more frequently, or you think you're hungry, like some investigating needs to be done there, to understand that process, what's happening for you. You know, and I also absolutely believe that you can be brought back into balance and reacquainted with these signals. You know, and so I'm actually, you know, when I go to plate my food, I can actually sense whether or not the amount of food that's on the plate is too much or too little to satisfy me. And I can sense that. I just know. I look at it and I know. And so just like it kind of works in reverse when you wait too long and you're super hungry, and then you put way too much on because that's the size that your hunger feels. But if you know, are really conscious in this process of listening to your body and responding appropriately, you know, you can really appropriately, just meaning, you know, in accordance with the signal, you can get to the place where you can really you can look at the food on the plate and say that is enough or that's too much, and then enter into eating in a way that feels good for you, feels harmonious. So much of our eating is on the move, and we're rushing around. We're eating in the car, and we're eating amidst conversations that are rowling and emotional, and we wonder why our digestion is not feeling complete, or it feels interrupted. And the way in which our food is digested, by that I mean whether it's completely digested or assimilated well and completely, and the tissue that food that you ingest becomes in the body absolutely is affected by the environment in which it is ingested. So I would say, to be mindful, if you're choosing to have a more harmonious experience with digestion, begin to take your time, create, again, boundaries around your eating that support what it is you desire to create. And let's see where we are. Yes, so that is number 3. And I actually think that I'm going to give you one more, and then I'll do another series for you, because I really think these are really important, and I want to know if and how you're implementing these, if any of these struck a chord with you, if this is good information and you're finding that this is something that you needed to hear today, or someone who needs to hear it, then please tag them in this video, share it with them, so that they can begin to make the changes needed so they can feel like their best self. So I'll give you one more. Let's see. So far we've covered water, we've covered sleep, we've covered nourishment, so food in general, and the choices that we make around it. And I would say that the next one is movement. I have an itch. Hold on. Okay. So I would say the next one is movement. So another kind of, this is a perfect segue, actually. Movement, actually, after ingesting food, going for a 15-minute slow walk can actually help digestion. I really have an itch here. Hold on. And but movement, it serves many purposes. Increase in circulation, helping us with our management of a healthy body weight, allowing us to have time in nature. Movement could be, dancing. Movement could be working out, whatever. And it may be a kind of a combination of several of those that constitute the movement that you implement in your life that help you feel like your best and create the most harmonious experience in your body that you can have. And so, if you don't yet know what that is, explore. If you've not danced in a while, maybe find a YouTube video and dance along with it, or find a dance class. Or if you are not working out right now, but you've been meaning to get back to it, then find a starting point. Find a starting place to just begin. And I would say, release the expectations of anything that you start now looking like it did before, if you've done it previously. If it's exercise, if it's dance, allow yourself to just have a new experience with it. Release the expectations, allow yourself just to move into an activity free of judgment, free of expectation, just allowing yourself to have the experience for experience sake. And then decide, if you want to have that experience again. This is how we can kind of build a life that feels good because we're only doing things that we love. So I think this is a wonderful place to bring us for a landing today. If you have comments or questions or other topics that you'd like us to talk about here, please drop them into the comments. Myself and Nancy are happy to address them and want to engage with you. And please share and like this video so that we know that we are giving you something that you value, and we'll keep it coming in the same manner next week. Until then, remember that you are more than enough. You are necessary to the unfoldment of the cosmos. Your genius is necessary and desired and needed in the world. And I await you, as does the one that we all are. Peace and love. See you next week. Same bat channel, same bat time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.